Hi there, culture eater. How are you doing today? Or I should say tonight. I'm filming this in the evening, so the lighting's probably a little bit darker than normal. Had to do a quickie video. I am out of all backlog videos completely. But good news is I'm leaving on vacation very soon and I am going to have some awesome new content. So for this last video before my trip, I thought I would do a Q&A, and I did it with my Instagram followers. I have about 16,000 followers, so if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you do. CulturEatz, you'll find me there. And yeah, we have lots of fun. I ask a question every Friday as well that people really enjoy answering. But I also asked last week, a separate day, Q&A, ask me questions about food, about travel, you know, not too discreet stuff about myself. And I told my followers I'm going to do a video and answer most of their questions. I got a lot of responses. Like, I had to pick some because we'd be here for an hour. And I don't know if you want to listen to me answer questions for 1 hour. So I did ended up doing a top 16. If we have time, if it's like not too long, maybe I'll add a couple more that I kind of remember. So let's get to it. Let's start with question number 1. So you know these names, I'm so used to seeing all of your names and just recognizing your picture, but actually pronouncing them might be a bit of a challenge. So the first question I have is from Ilya Chkokobsgal 9, and she asks me, were you born in Quebec? Yes, I was. I'm born in Quebec, born in Montreal. My mom is French-Canadian from many generations, donc je parle en français, français québécois. And my father is Austrian of Russian blood, so have always spoken in English with him. Don't really know German or Russian, so I am not a purebred. But yes, I'm born here, but I have an interesting background. Question number 2 is from Black Katrina 1, and hope you're doing well, hope you're feeling good today. She asks me, what is the best comfort food to eat? I'm assuming she's talking about me. So I wrote down, you know, I haven't actually made it in a really long time, but my mom's lasagna recipe is, that's totally one of the top comfort foods for me, for sure. She does like a big spaghetti sauce with lots of meat, and she does a layer with spinach and I think it's cottage cheese or ricotta cheese, and like kind of layered like that. It's really good. That's a really big comfort food for me. A healthier comfort food, I haven't done it in a while either, but I really like it, especially in the summer, because you can serve it cold. I have a recipe on my blog. I can't remember the title of it, but it's fish cooked with some pearl couscous. There's, I think, a mustard sauce in there, and some spinach you just toss in at the end when it just kind of gets wilted. It's really nice, light meal, and I really like pearl couscous a lot. So that's a dish I really enjoy. Besides that, I'd say anything with melted cheese. Anything with cheese and anything with melted cheese, total comfort. Ice creams, nice, rich, good ice creams, not the cheap crap. And other dessert I could think of was pecan pie. I love me a good pecan pie with a lot of pecans on the top. Question number 3 is from Behind My Kitchen Door. And the question is, what is your favorite food, like you can't go a day without eating it? So my immediate reaction was to say chocolate. I love chocolate, love chocolate, love chocolate. But I do go some days without eating chocolate like you should. But so I said, okay, well, that's not necessarily the right answer, but I said if there's one food I really have to have every day, and it's usually the first thing I have in the morning, it's a glass of milk. I drink 1%. I love milk. I love dairy product. Like I have to have a glass of milk every day. The only times I don't, it's like if I'm on vacation and it's really not convenient. Otherwise, must have milk. Now, if you put milk and chocolate together, I actually don't like milk chocolate. I prefer dark chocolate. So, but I do like milk, chocolate milk. So just to confuse everybody with that. Next question, number 4, is from Flying Candy XOXO59. And the question is, what was the last food you had sweet dreams about? Interesting question. So, I barely ever even remember my dreams, let alone dream about food. So that was a tough question. But I was involved in a sponsorship for a influencer event last week, and there were fruits like galore, and I cut so many plums that the next day actually I dreamt of cutting plums. So that's my answer to that question, but I don't normally remember my dreams very much, and they don't usually involve food, so it's kind of interesting. Next question. I'm losing track of numbers. We'll just go with next question. We have, oh God, I am going to butcher your name. I'm sorry. Petar Radovanov. I believe he's Polish, if I remember. No, I don't, someone of those. No, Serbian, I guess, because this question is Serbian. He says, did you ever eat sarma, a Serbian specialty? No, because I had to Google it. I had no idea what it was. So my answer is yes and no. It turns out that sarma, S-A-R-M-A, is cabbage rolls stuffed with meat and I guess some special spices. I read it's very flavorful, so I've had cabbage rolls. But the difference here is that the cabbage leaves are pickled before. I'm really curious about that. That just might be something I'll do on my blog as a recipe at some point. So thank you, Petar, for the inspiration on that one. Next question. We got a few from her because I tried to really mix it up. And I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question. There was just too many, but you know, time, I had to condense stuff. But Smile Run Smile sent me 3 awesome questions, all different. I had to use them all. So she asks, first question, what was the most daring thing you've eaten? Can you recount how you came across it and how it was? I'm very open-minded and I eat a lot of things. Liver's an issue for me, I would say, or like offal, O-F-F-A-L, like insides, innards are tough. So liver, I guess, is one of them, but I can't remember when I mean, obviously my parents gave me liver, but I did a 10-week how to learn to like foods you hate at one point a few years back. So for 10 weeks, I cooked liver once a week for 10 weeks. So it helped a lot. But my true answer to this question, I'm gonna go with crickets. And this happened at a health food environmental show that there was in Montreal. And we were walking around the stalls, my friend Sandra and I, and we came across the stall and the guy says in French, he says, est-ce que vous voulez goûter à des grillons? Because Smile Run Smile, you speak French, you know what grillon is. I'm not used to hearing the word in French, so I'm like, sure, let's try a grillon. What is it? He looked really surprised. He goes, you're really, really sure? We're like, yeah. So he went with tongs into a bag and took out an insect. Yeah, it was a dehydrated cricket. And my friend and I, Sandra, kind of looked at each other and went, let's just go for it. And we had it. So that's the weirdest thing I've ever eaten so far. It was, I don't know, it was really dehydrated. It kind of tasted like dust, quite honestly. And it was really sharp. I actually cut my mouth, the roof of my mouth, and it took a while to heal. So that's my experience. Although I do have cricket flour and I have cooked with that. That's good. Next question, we have Wandy's World asks, what was your most memorable meal and where was it? Okay, that's like asking me who's your favorite child or what's your favorite type of food, because it's probably the last thing I ate that left an impression on me. I can't probably remember the absolute best meal I've ever had in my entire life, but I had two that came to mind. One, I actually did a influencer event video on it, but I had been to this restaurant before called Chez Sophie in Montreal. Excellent, excellent restaurant. I believe the chef is Lebanese or somewhere around there. Her husband is Italian, he's the sommelier, and the food is really excellent. The service is excellent. Both times I went, I ate something that's not, it's one of those internal organs things. I had sweetbread, which is a gland, a thymus gland or something like that. I can have it in small doses. It's very creamy and buttery to eat, in an interesting texture. If you've had brain, I think it's similar. And both, they had this vegetable side. It was a mix of vegetable side. Oh my God, like it was, we were all floored by the vegetable side. It was like the best vegetable side ever in our entire lives. We could have had a dish of it. Excellent service there. They have a really good yuzu cocktail I enjoy. And second one would be the best sushi I've ever had, which is a place called Saiko Bistro, an izakaya, very fancy izakaya place in Montreal. They have excellent sushi. I went with a Japanese friend who actually corrected the way I was eating sushi, which was apparently very bad. And she knew the owners, and we got a couple of special dishes. It was the tasting menu. It was very, very good. So that would be my answer. And I might have a new answer upcoming soon, because soon I'm going to the 11th best restaurant in the world called Quintonil. So I'll get back to you on where that is, well, in the next question. My next question is from Maison de Cateau, I believe in Turkey, and they do excellent drinks, gorgeous, gorgeous drinks. Check them out. And she asked, he or she, I'm not even sure, I'm sorry, asks, which city will I visit next? Well, funny you should ask, because I'm leaving tomorrow. Yeah, if you're watching this the day that it's released, I am on an airplane tomorrow, and I am going to Mexico City, and also somewhere called Bacalar, where there's a lagoon with like 7 colors. But yeah, mostly in Mexico City, coming up soon. That's where the restaurant is, Quintonil. Next question by Dennis, my dear Dennis from Stuffer. Check out his YouTube channel. We do a lot of live stream collaborations together. He asks me, what are you looking forward to the most for your trip to Mexico City? Definitely, well, just checking out the city. Looks like an absolutely amazing city, lots of great parks. But I'm really, really looking forward to the street food, because the street food in Mexico City is apparently off the hook. I also really want to spend a day at the Met Market, which is like the big, huge market. You can spend a day there easy. All the Mexican specialties and ingredients and stuff like that. I'm going to be spending money there. Cannot wait. I really want to go see the Frida Kahlo Museum as well, and the Blue House where she lived, and the Aztec ruins. I brought up Teotihuacan, which are the biggest, tallest Aztec ruins. They're about an hour and a half outside of Mexico City. I cannot wait. And next again, we have Smile Run Smile. Second question. She asks, what was the most beautiful place you've traveled to? Again, that's such a hard question. Like, I've been to so many places, they all have different charms. Two came to mind, a little more quicker than others. One would be the Painted Desert, which is in Arizona. I did a road trip, like a crazy road trip by myself. And that was the day, it was the Petrified Wood Forest National Park. I went like west to east, and when you come out at the end, it was 5 p.m. There was barely anyone left, and you have like this desert mountains, and there's like layers of like peach and violet and yellows and oranges, and I felt like I was one with the universe at that moment. It really, really marked me, that moment. So I'd say that's one of the most beautiful places I've traveled to. And also very interesting esoteric experience was in Cusco in Peru. And I happened to be there on the 24th of June is when they have this big Inca celebrations. It's a huge affair. It lasts all day. You start in the city and you hike up to some of the ruins, and there's literally 100,000 people on this cliff looking down at the stage. And you know, there's the Inca king and priests and the warriors and everything. The symbol of the Inti Raymi is the rainbow. It was raining that day. For them, it's winter. It was on and off, rain, sun. And right after the Inca king did the reading of the entrails to give the prophecy of the coming year, and the dancers came out, the sun came out, and an actual rainbow happened. And there's a lot of Peruvians around, and it was an electric moment. You could feel the energy. Everybody reacted like it was an actual miracle, like a real live miracle. And that was one of the most precious experiences I've ever had in my entire life. So that would be my answer to your question. Next question is from Ian Shaw 095. Do you go to cooking classes when you travel? Where was the best? And he says he's been to Istanbul, Rome, and Bali are his top 3. I find them very expensive, and my blog is about cooking from around the world. So I don't necessarily feel the need, because I think I'm pretty good at finding authentic recipes on my own. So it's not a priority for me to do a cooking class when I'm traveling, but I have done one in my life, and that was in New Orleans, Louisiana, where we made a gumbo, and I don't remember the salad, and we did, of course, some pralines, or as they say there, pralines. Really good dessert, awesome candy to eat. Since we're on the topic of New Orleans, Shannon Blossman asks, if you made your way to New Orleans, what culinary delights would be first on your list to try? Love from the Southern Darling. Well, thank you very much, you Southern Darling. I actually did answer her right away, but like I said, I have been there twice to New Orleans, so I know the food there. So if I was to go back a third time, on the top of my list would be cocktail-wise, the Sazerac and the Vieux Carré. I really like those cocktails. There was an awesome restaurant called Herbe Sainte that we went to, which is actually an anagram for absinthe, which was very, very good. The muffaletta sandwich, it's an Italian sandwich, big round bread, and they take out the meat of the bread and they layer it with cheeses and some cold cuts and this amazing olive marinated salad that they put on top. Like, the sandwich is this thick and you cut it into 4 pieces for 4 people. It's really good. The charred broiled oysters at the Drago restaurant are a classic as well. And of course, I'd have to go for some French beignet and some pralines again, of course. Next question is from Polski Eater. And the question is, I really like the way this was worded. If you were sitting on death row, just to pretend, what would be your last meal? Assuming you could choose whatever you want, not just prison meals. What a great question. So what I came up with was the Indonesian Vista, It's a Dutch influence, I believe, but it's basically a meal where you have a little bit of everything, but all Indonesian flavored things. There's a restaurant in Montreal, Nonya, that does it. I really find it some of the flavors that are really more out of the ordinary. I really like them. There's a lot of lemongrass and pandan and ginger and unusual spices and some spicy dishes. It's just lovely. I could just have a whole buffet of rishtafel. I'd have to have lobster and oysters on the side for sure. For dessert, my favorite cake ever. I think I have a video where I talk about this cake, and I made the recipe. I had to recreate it myself because all the recipes online are in German, but it's called the Punschtorte cake, which is a punch cake. It's like you get drunk on one slice of this cake. It's just phenomenal. It's so good. So definitely would have that. And to finish off, a little side of the richest, creamiest possible dark chocolate mousse. I would finish off with that. And now we have Smile Run Smile's last question. What job did you dream of doing when you were a child? We had a little discussion about that, and she says, let's rephrase it. What would you like to do when you grow up? Because I don't think I've grown up yet. So the answer to that would be, I want to be like a girl boss. I want to be an independent worker. I don't want to have a boss. And I do a little bit of what I'm doing now. I continue blogging and doing my YouTube. If I had time, I would like to start a second blog about how to blog, like SEO-wise, and how to be successful at blogging. If I had the time, I'd love to do that. Do some contract work a little bit on the side with marketing agencies. I'm doing that a little bit now. And again, I had the chance last week to be part of a sponsored influencer event, and I was behind the table for the first time, not the influencer. And that was for fruits from Chile, because it's summer there and it's winter here, and they send us their lovely, beautiful summer fruits. So that was an awesome experience. And yeah, it was also a terrible, terrible day, and I had like 200 pounds of fruit, and half the people showed up, and it was crazy trying to not spoil any fruits. And yeah, people really took so much fruit home. It was awesome. It was a really fun experience. So that's what I want to do when I grow up. And a little bit along those lines, Steerwater21 asks, what do you love about your career? Well, if you're talking about my real 9-to-5 job, nothing. I'm trying to get out of the 9-to-5 rat race. So basically everything I just answered before of what I would like to do when I grow up is what I love, which I'm doing a little bit now but not living off of it. But I like to be creative, so the cooking, taking pictures, editing them, learning to do video, learning to edit video, all of those things, social media. It's very creative, it's very fulfilling for me. Also, I like to educate people. It gives me the opportunity with YouTube and with my recipes from around the world on my blog to educate people, introduce dishes they've never heard of, or ingredients or spices. And it's just, you know, it makes me happy when I come up with a really bizarre recipe and people are like, oh my God, I would have never had that, or would have never thought. Like, oh my God, you just blew our minds once again. That's like awesome. And if somebody tells me, you know, I tried it and I ate something outside of my comfort zone, that's like the best compliment for me. So that's what I love. It's like teaching, educating, sharing, and communicating with people like that. And let's see, I believe we have our last question is from Iya. Again, I'm going to massacre your name, Chkokusgal9. She asked the first question, but I wanted to answer her second question as well. And that was, what are your top 5 favorite movies? That's a really difficult question. And you ask me a different day, different age, I probably have totally different answers. So what I did is I'm going to give you a couple of my favorites from 5 different genres. So for food movies, my favorites are Feste de Babette, a French film, and Julie and Julia. Julia Child, classic, love those. As far as serious drama, historical films. There was a point in my life for about 10 years where I made a point every year, once a year, to watch Schindler's List. I also very much enjoyed the movie Capote, based on Truman Capote. Really like that movie a lot. This is gonna be completely, this is like, oh, sharing something weird. I really like hip hop dance films. They make me happy. I really like the whole Step Up movie franchise a lot, especially the character moves, the short guy with the curly hair. I love hip hop dancing movies. I don't know why. I'm like terrible at dancing. Favorite horror. I went with the Spanish movie called Wreck. I think there were 2 or 3 after, but I mean they're good, but the first one was best. They made an American version. Watch the Spanish version with subtitles. It's not, they never really explain why. It's kind of like a doomsday kind of thing, but it's all taking place in an apartment building, and all the tenants become infected with, we never find out what really, but they become very animalistic and have murderous tendencies. And I think the American version was called Quarantine. So yeah, they basically, but it's a reporter, so she's recording, that's why it's called Wreck. Awesome Spanish horror movie. Spanish Mexican horror movies are really good. And finally, comedy. For comedy, I chose Tootsie, an old classic with Dustin Hoffman. No, oh my god, I can't remember who it is, but Tootsie, showing my age. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, excellent movie, love that one. Shaun of the Dead, I love this comedy slash horror film. And my really stupid comedy that I really enjoy is called White Chicks. It's the Wayans brothers. They're 2 black brothers, 2 black brothers in real life. They make movies and they play in the movie, and they're detectives that are trying to solve a crime, so they have to go undercover as white sorority girls. It's a very stupid, funny comedy. I really like it. Let's see. One more question that I remember. Dennis asked me what was my favorite healthy snack, favorite unhealthy snack. Just thought I'd throw that in at the end. Healthy, I would say almonds and berries. I like a lot. Unhealthy, anything with chocolate and sugar. And I know you can say I could have a little bit of chocolate and that'd be okay, but if you're gonna give me a chocolate bar, I'm not gonna eat 1 square of it. I mean, come on. I'm gonna eat the whole goddamn bar. It's a bar of chocolate. So, that's it. That's the round of questions from my first Q&A with Instagram from my followers. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. Let me know if you have any other questions. Write them down below in the comments. Maybe I'll do another video with my YouTube subscribers. That would be really awesome. Make sure to go and follow me on Instagram. That's CulturEatz. Again, you got it right here. Especially since I'm going to be going away and I'm not going to be posting videos for the next 2-3 weeks, I'm going to try to post once a day stuff from Mexico. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I wish you a wonderful day or evening, and always remember to eat and travel outside of your comfort zone. Mwah. Bye.